Okay, here I am going live on September 23rd, 2025. So, yeah, here we're coming up with an electrical storm like in the next few minutes here in Santa Barbara. Probably be sometime tonight or tomorrow or something, but there's supposed to be a lot of lightning happening. We'll see how that plays out, what happens with it. We had the solar eclipse and fall equinox, I guess the day before yesterday. But I don't think we had the eclipse here in Santa Barbara, but somewhere on the planet we had a solar eclipse on the fall equinox. So I'm expecting a major change of seasons. Hey there, Cindy, how's it going? Are you having an electrical storm up there where you're at? I know Cindy's in California. I forget what town, somewhere up north. Nope, you're not having it. It's just starting here. It's supposed to be tomorrow, I think. But it's raining a little bit here. I'm not sure if it's. Are you in Sacramento? Yeah, I'm not sure if it gets kind of dangerous. Lightning right after the summer when everything dries out. So we'll see what happens. People are kind of gun shy about fires and stuff in California. And so when you get electrical storms, them electrical storms did it again. The outskirts of Sacramento. Yeah, I've been getting up north a little bit to Monterey County. And I'm starting to buy old classic cars cheap. Stuff you don't have to smog. And like everything keeps coming my way in Monterey County for some reason. Like there's something telling me, and I got a boat up there and everything, but there's something, dragging me, not dragging me, but luring me. There's something luring me to Monterey County. And, that's where, now I think it was Chief Black Bear and the West Coast Wizard that blew up the Moss Landing lithium ion power plant. I don't know who blew it up there. I'm just saying what I think. But yeah, I should have jumped in on the class action lawsuit, but I didn't go up there. But everybody, I don't know, kind of sucked. The whole place got shut down because it poisoned the air for a few minutes. I don't know what the West Coast Wizard's been up to. CJO, how's it going there? Glad seeing you guys showing up in the chat because I don't do shows very often anymore because I'm just so tired, man. The ground it's been wearing me out. But the main thing happening is are you guys dialed in on all the ascension stuff and doing well? One thing that's happened is I've been doing quantum leaps. And it's been wearing me out, man, my body. And so it's seriously, if you actually do a quantum leap in your life, it'll wear out your body. And and then also everything takes up so much time. I got all these big old battles going on. That's literally taken on years. It's been 5 years now. But I'm still standing and still kicking butt, man. They can't believe it. I'm not going to go into that too much. You know what I wanted to talk about, though? Well, first of all, I want to talk about a lot of stuff. The show, the World the worldwide show that we've been watching for like 5 years. You know, and I've been giving the play-by-play, in my opinion, on the show for like 5 years, ever since the Lowdown 2020. Now it's the Lowdown 2025, live Lowdown 2025. It's not some pre-recorded thing. It's live, impromptu. Is that how you say it? Okay. So anyway, I wanted to talk about some stuff with Cindy and CJO. I'm not sure either one. Okay. You guys know that I'm on, you've heard my advice. Of course, it's Chief Black Bear that's really with Princess Diana. And Chief Black Bear did, ID swapping with Dodi Al Fayed and knocked up Princess Diana before Trump knocked her up. Okay? I should have said P-Murder or something in code. I don't want to get my show cut off. I'm trying to read the chat. The words are so small. I wonder if I blow it up any. No, now I can mess with it. Let's see. Okay, so anyways, getting back to Princess Diana, like Chief Black Bear rescuing her, which is part of the new novel coming out anyways. The new Chief Black Bear novel that's not finished being written. But in it, Chief Black Bear rescues Princess Diana and they become an item and he gets her pregnant and they have a baby. And then later, P-Mert snakes her. Sorry, I got to call him P-Mert, but he deserves that anyways. P-Mert snakes Princess Diana from Chief Black Bear, and then P-Mert knocks her up, and they have a baby named Sarah. Did anybody in the chat room, CJ or Cindy, know of P-Mert and Diana having a baby named Sarah? Okay, Cindy knows that. Okay. All right. So, and then Cindy, have you seen the adult picture of Sarah next to Princess Diana? Cindy or CJO. Do you know the picture I'm talking about that I don't have that I saved? Okay, but you know the picture I'm talking about. She got beautiful young woman, blonde hair and blue eyes and all that, right? All right, so check this out, Cindy. So then I'm on Facebook and it just pops up a picture of Erica Kirk and that picture of Sarah, whose last name might be Trump. Yeah, she's very beautiful, right, Cindy? Very pretty. Sarah, I guess her name might be, I don't know, her name's P-Mert, Sarah P-Mert. But anyways, the offspring, the baby of P-Mert and Princess Diana. She's a grown woman now, approximately Erica Kirk's age. Now, Cindy, don't she look exactly like Erica Kirk? See there? See, you see how she's hugging her daddy and doing this stuff or whatever? And her daddy always does all them signals too. I can't even do it because my finger disease is my Irish stuff. So see there, Cindy? Ain't I right though, Cindy? You know I'm right. I put it on. And so what I did was I see that, and then I go sharing it to my own Facebook page so I won't lose it. And something else pops up on my Facebook page. And then I'm like, and I write in the comment thing, my own words. I'm like, Erica is Sarah. And then I say, wow. And then, then what winds up on my Facebook page is a bunch of stuff about Melania and Diana, being the same person or whatever, it's insinuating that. But what I was trying to show was that Sarah and Erica, look exactly alike. I swear to God. And if you look at that Erica Kirk, the one hugging her daddy, they're hugging P Mert on the stage. If you look at that, she looks exactly like P Mert, man. She looks exactly like P Mert, and so does Sarah. And Sarah looks exactly like Diana too. So that's just my observation of that part of the show. Now, other stuff I wanted to talk about is Melania's black outfit and purple hat with P. Mert's purple tie when they go to the visit the king and prince and princess or whatever. And so, and you got to know that King Chucky Boy, he knows what's really going on. What I'm getting at now, you know how Chief Black Bear is supposed to be King of the West. You got P Mert snaking him for King of the West because it's looking right now like P Mert's got like Diana and Melania are the same person, wrapping up Queen of the North and Queen of the West. It's looking like instead of Chief Black Bear having Melania and Diana, that P Mert's got them both. That's what the Chief's all pissed off at P Mert about, but the Chief's still commander in chief. So, and then the other thing is P Mert, he might be a clone anyways. No, but so anyways, they go showing up in England with the purple hat and the black everything else. Melania and P Mert. And P Mert's got a purple tie. First of all, the purple thing is royalty. And then again, like P Mert walks in front of King Chucky, kind of like he did in front of Queen Lizard Breath. And I like the way the wizard stole my handle for Queen Lizard Breath. But that's all right. Disney stole the Biden bot. I come up with these handles for people if they're people, and then other people take them. They go like viral words that I make up that other people take and make it more famous. But yeah, I named her Queen Lizard Breath like way back, way before when she's still alive. We were predicting London Bridge was falling down. London Bridge will fall. Back in those days, we used to talk about London Bridge falling down. And then it finally fell. And so now here we are, where but P Mert did walk in front of Queen Lizard Breath, which is a no-no. Now he walked in front of King Chucky, which is a no-no, but I guess Chucky was okay with it. So they're wearing the purple hat and the purple tie, which supposedly symbolizes royalty. But P Mert, he's just an American, man. He's not royal. And I'll tell you another thing going on. Check this out. You guys might algorithms throw me a lot of this stuff, right? I mean, just bam, right there it is, and then it's gone. But kind of like Erica and Sarah. Okay, you know how we all been talking this Elvis Bob Joyce thing, right? And we know how Bob Joyce is friends with P Mert, right? You guys know that, CJO and Cindy? Bob Joyce, you guys on board with who he is? Who Bob Joyce is, not who people say he is, but who Preacher Man Bob. Huh? So anyways, Elvis Presley, he's back in on this, let's see here, Cindy. Let me go get my true quote shoes, blue suede shoes, and think about it. Okay, Cindy. So you're gonna go get your blue suede shoes and think about it. Okay. So what the algorithms have been showing me with both of them king of the West. Now I don't know, all the way back to 2020 when I first started writing King of the West, which is the name of the new Chief Black Bear book. There's always been competition for who's King of the West. Now, the only king we've ever had in the United States of America has been Elvis Presley. He's the only king we've ever had. And then now you got, P. Mert trying to act like he's king, and he's always been a contender. And then there's been Chief Black Bear, a contender for King of the West. And the story ain't written, it's not finished yet. What I'm trying to say is we don't know who King of the West is yet. Okay? And Elvis Presley might be alive still. Remember, we were going to move him in at Pope, but we got a different American. Remember, I was going to, because I'm the one writing the book, King of the West. Remember that I was going to move Elvis Presley in at Pope because he was going to be King of the West, but Chief Black Bear's, taking over King of the West. Just going to move Elvis Presley in at Pope. But now come to find out, not only might, or perhaps, not just Elvis Presley, Bob Joyce, but perhaps P. Mert himself is Elvis Presley. Same shaped face, same blue eyes, same cool hairdo. But, P. Mert, wait, did Elvis have the hairdo from the beginning? I mean, did Elvis I'm not saying P. Mert's got cool hair at all. Okay? I mean, he's like 90 now, but he still thinks he's got cool hair. Okay? But if you were to take, and then they go showing me little specks on the skin that are the same, like 3 little specks here, there, on P. Mert and on Elvis. But I'm just throwing that at you that there's a and we know that Elvis was a cop under Nixon. You guys know that from watching this show that we went over that, right, Cindy? You know that Elvis. Well, no, Elvis was a cop. He was like a deputy sheriff, like in many counties, dozens of counties. But he was like a DEA also. Yeah, he was taking down the Black Panthers and Bill Ayers and freaking Weather Underground. It was Elvis that took him down. That's right. But what if Elvis was P. Mert? He's been at this for a long time. And another thing, anybody ever see when they start throwing all these pictures out there, all these 17 pictures? Every once in a while, Jimmy Carter pops up in it. Anybody ever seen that? Why is Jimmy? Well, it's the Drews bloodline. You guys are all familiar with the Drews bloodline, right? So, they're throwing all these people out there in the Drews bloodline, and then all of a sudden, they throw Jimmy Carter out there. Why? I guess he's in the Drews, okay? But check it out. Really think about how much Jimmy Carter and President Carter and President Kennedy really look alike. I mean, think about it, how much President Carter, President Kennedy look alike. And then, like, you look at people like in 84% positive, that dude, how much he looks like President Lincoln. But, it's this Drews bloodline is what it is. It's the Drews bloodline. And we talked about it many times through the show, the Clooney's and all that. Okay. And, Diana and P. Mert, they're all in on it. Okay. And by the way, the theory of William being the Antichrist, I'm going to debunk that because it might be William's half brother, Baron. Okay? Because check this out. We know that we need Princess Diana's DNA to get all the evil families in on it. So we need, right? Isn't that the story? What William's the first person to have all of that evil DNA. Okay. But Baron has it too. Okay. And so now you got Trump and Melania showing up in, what was it, Windsor Palace? Is that what it's called? And, they're acting like king and queen. And I really like the way Kate, Princess Catherine, treats P. Mert and Melania. I guess I can call him Trump. Just get deleted. You're allowed to talk about the president, but they're letting the show go on saying P. Mert. So you got to make it entertaining to the algorithms, and like the people that want to cut my show and just disconnect it. You got to make it entertaining to them. So now I'm like, entertaining them pretty good. So they're letting me do a show. All right. So Trump and Melania are real friendly with Princess Catherine, Princess Kate. And you can see the love in their eyes. Trump and Kate and Melania and Kate, you can see it. And that Diana just slips on, the mask thing with the freaking Botox and all that. I am Melania. But and I got the same beautiful blue eyes and everything, but the Melania, she got that. Melania's a full-on alien. But she's actually you guys know that in real life, like, you got the real Melania. There's the clones, the doubles, and the triples, and the quadruples, and all that. There's the real Melania. Okay, she never know which one's which. You just never know who's who because of the mask and everything else. They could be holograms for all I know. Okay, but the real Melania is the great-grandchild of the Tsar of Russia. I forget what his name is, but she's all the way down. That's why she's Queen of the North automatically. But of course, she gets cheated out of her cut. They got these, I don't know who they are. The Khazarians, they took over Israel. I'm not sure if they took over Russia also. I don't know. I barely know American history. And it's all a lie anyways. You don't know what's true. So, they're treating Trump and Melania like they're king and queen. And the other thing is Charles, he's about to die any second. And see how they named Kate the Queen, not Camilla. And, Charles, he's got a very short time left. And that he knows that Melania is Diana right there wearing the purple hat. Chucky knows what's going on. And it's and then the very next day he names Catherine the Queen, not freaking the chameleon. The chameleon was pissed. You see all the pictures of her? She was pissed, man. Melania and Kate, they're all buddy. But technically, Melania, or Diana with the Melania mask, is Kate's mother-in-law. And so, they know it. They know it. Look, you know who your mother-in-law is. You think William don't know who his mother is? I mean, come on. And the same thing with Barron. You think Barron don't know who his mother is? I mean, and getting back to the story, Sarah. Like Sarah, she is hot too. But yeah, I swear, you guys go dig up them pictures. Anybody new in the chat watching this show later, go dig up pictures of P. Merton, Diana's daughter Sarah, like when she's like about, she's like, she's probably born in well, probably born in about 2000 or something. I think the chief knocked her up in 98. And then Trump freaking snaked her after that. But they turned Diana into a freaking baby making machine. She got a lot of babies, man. It ain't just William and Harry. But yeah, and then you don't know if the story, if William and Harry are real either. At least Harry. William might be the real William, but he was just here in town the other day, man. They had a big show at Kevin Costner's house, a bunch of bands. It was great. I didn't go, but that's the cool thing to do is you go to like Kevin Costner's house and rock out, and Prince Harry's there and a bunch of other people. But I don't mingle with that crowd. But yeah, I'm not sure if Harry is Harry. But you don't know. Did you guys hear the story about like the real John F. Kennedy Jr.? Like this is back when he's a little older. Like well, I've seen the pictures, and Cindy, I bet you have too. Let me know, Cindy, because you're generally on top of this stuff. But so John F. Kennedy Jr. when I'd say 7. Cindy, let me know what age you think. Gets kidnapped by the Hells Angels, or gets kidnapped and fostered with the Hells Angels. Did you hear that story, Cindy, CJO, anybody? Anybody in the chat hear the story about the real John F. Kennedy Jr. getting kidnapped at about, well, in the pictures I've seen, he looks about 8. He's wearing a vest with the Hells Angels vest and everything. And there's like a brown skin, Mexican Indian looking Hells Angel, sitting on his keister. And he's like watching Junior. So anyway, you guys might not know that story. But anyways, going with that story is that the real John F. Kennedy Jr. gets kidnapped and is placed with the Hells Angels for his own protection, actually. But they supposedly weren't that great to him. But they actually did protect him, and he did grow up and become a man. And is probably still alive. 84% positive. Might be. But anyways, so then the Jackie marries up with Onassis. What's his name? Aristotle Onassis, right? Okay. And he has a son named George Onassis. Okay. And so then George Onassis supposedly dies. And so when John F. Kennedy Jr. gets kidnapped and placed with the Hells Angels, George Onassis becomes John F. Kennedy Jr. And that's the real good looking guy that we think is John F. Kennedy Jr. You know the um I think he got later, like after he gets kidnapped by the Hells Angels, he comes home to Jackie and everything. Yeah, the Hells Angels didn't raise him forever. Like he comes home and I don't think that George Onassis dies until he's 14 or 15 or something. But one thing that was interesting about John F. Kennedy Jr., the stories was that he was a stoner, a full-on stoner. Like the Hells Angels, they were probably getting him stoned and everything from like when he's 8 years old and older, right? So yeah, John F. Kennedy Jr. was a full-on stoner. And he was like all right in sports, but not real good. And then and this is in high school. And so, but I mean, he is pretty good, but he wasn't a full-on jock. He wasn't the guy. He wasn't George Onassis yet, okay? But just boom, one day, George Onassis becomes John F. Kennedy Jr. Well, wait. First, George Onassis dies, and then he becomes John F. Kennedy Jr. And I guess John F. Kennedy Jr. goes off, and I'm 84% positive I know who he becomes. And so life goes on. But then there's Patrick also. Patrick's in the mix. Patrick Bouvier Kennedy. So now we got George Onassis, we got John F. Kennedy Jr., and we got Patrick Bouvier Kennedy. And they're all about the same age. And they're all supposed to be dead, but in all honesty, we don't know if any of them are dead. And then, has anybody seen the Double Trouble little pictures of John Jr.? And then all the way from the time he's 4 to getting in the limo when he's a teenager. But there's another one that looks just like him. You guys know the pictures I'm talking about? They're usually black and white pictures. But so there's a possibility of yet, and there's Arabella. So and there's all the transgender switching. For example, CGO, Cindy, anybody watching the show, to pop anybody's bubble that might love Jackie so much. Who's ever heard that Jackie is a dude, a transgender or something like what? They weren't transgenders yet back then. So what I'm contending is that Jackie is somebody's father, perhaps. But I don't know. But has anybody ever heard that? Well, some people say they're all a bunch of transgenders. I mean, in order to be a first lady, you got to be a transgender. That's what One Shadow used to say. And other people have said that also. And boy, you go looking at people like Mimi Eisenhower. And the reason there's some credibility, because check it out. See, now we have abilities to make people like Big Mike sound like Michelle Obama with a woman voice. You know what I'm saying? But back in the 60s, they didn't have that ability. And if you ever listen to Jackie Kennedy, listen to her talk. I listen to all the shows. I listened to her a lot, but she had a dude's voice. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not saying that she's a dude or that any of the first ladies are dudes, including Melania. I've heard that. Hillary, all of them. I've heard her all dudes. I said, what about Nancy Reagan? Oh, you're damn straight, a skinny little freaking dude. No, I don't know. That's just one shadow talking, though. And he turned out to be freaking spy, of course. But yeah, I don't necessarily believe in all that Masonic stuff. But that's what they're. Hey, but you know what? The sad thing is the freaking Masonic stuff's been running the show the entire time. And when you really look, like at all of them, all the presidents were a bunch of freaking Freemasons. At least like 99% were. And the one or two that weren't got freaking assassinated. But even what it is if you're one of them, like Kennedy and Lincoln, and then you go rogue, you get bumped off. Supposedly, Kennedy might have made it. That's why I brought up how much he looked like Jimmy Carter. Seriously, heard that. Think about it. What if they got word that the assassination was going to happen, and the dude that got shot in the head wasn't even Kennedy? What if Kennedy not grew up, but went on to become Carter? About the same age. Look alike. A little bit of plastic surgery and stuff. Could it be possible? Who was the smartest out of all of them was Nixon. He was the one, he refused to meet with the freaking Greys or the Nordics. He wouldn't meet with them because he knew that they could take control of your mind, which is what they did with Eisenhower and Kennedy. And then, Kennedy tried to rat him out, man, and that's what happened. He opened his mouth and told us what was going on. Bam! The next day he was done. Supposedly. What I'm saying is they might not have got him. How they got all these fake dead people? Well, I'm hearing Kennedy was fake dead. I don't know. I wasn't even. Well, I was born. I was a baby. I think me and John are the same age. He might be like a few months older, a year older, or something. But yeah, they might not have did it. And so, anyways, we all know the tip of the spear, right? The the upside down pyramid, the tip of the spear. That Diana Jr. and Trump, I'll say his name. Don't delete me, please. Come on, I'm giving you a good show. They don't like me spilling the beans, but what it is it's time for the awakening. It's just time that people are allowed to hear what I have to say. So I might even get a few views. I notice I have 7 people watching. I appreciate that. 7's a good number. It's kind of based on God's number. They try to make a lot of this about the numbers. And I guess it is. I like that number 7. Drop down to 6. Yeah. Start talking about I don't like that number 6 as much. Okay, so yeah. Forget what I was talking about. You get all tripped up on the numbers dropping down to 6. So anyways, it's looking like Trump is contender for King of the West. And he's kind of taken center stage for the time being. We're not sure what Chief Black Bear has going on at the moment. He seems to be okay. Wait. Now, Chief Black Bear, we got to tie this in because we kind of do know what Chief Black Bear is up to. So, remember, like about over a year ago, when he made his planet Argartha, rounded up all that evil and put it on his planet Argartha, and repelled it out of the South Pole into space. He took off cruising around, and now all of a sudden, we got 3i Atlas coming this way. And another one. I forget the name of the other gigantic object that's 10 times bigger than 3i Atlas coming this way. But are you guys know anything about 3i Atlas? The third eye Atlas. Anyways, it's well, it's a lot bigger than Chief Black Bear's planet, Argartha. And I don't think it is Chief Black Bear's planet, Argartha. But 3i Atlas is coming this way. And anybody, there's been these guys like I watch on YouTube, like Nino Rodriguez, like saved a kitten. The kitten was planted in the street, and Nino saved a kitten. So you think that 3i Atlas is the Anunnaki? Well, I'm hearing they're lyran. Well, there's a bunch of different species on board 3i Atlas. But I'm hearing that the lyran are in control. Like they're the top dog species, but there's like Pleiadians and probably Anunnaki and a bunch of other folks on 3i Atlas. Okay. So let's just go with what I'm hearing, that 3i Atlas is more than a rock. There's more than a comet. And let's just pretend like it's a bunch of aliens, a bunch of different species on this giant planet coming this way. It's not a giant planet. It was like 150 miles. It's about the size of Chief Black Bear's planet. Chief Black Bear's planet is about the size of Los Angeles. I forget. He had the numbers. I forget what the numbers were on it, but I forget the numbers. It is all worked out in numbers with him. I forget how he did it. I mean, I know how he made it. We're not going to go on to it on the show. We did that on other shows. But anyways, so I don't think 3i Atlas is Argartha, because Argartha has all the evil on it and Chief Black Bear. And what we're worried about is that all that evil bumped off the chief. But here's the deal. The chief is Pleiadian, okay? He's like a mixture of Pleiadian and human, Native American Sioux, and Irish. Okay? So that's part of why he's got blue eyes. Well, the main reason he's got blue eyes is because he's Pleiadian and Irish. But I don't think it's the Irish, okay? Perhaps the reason Irish have blue. Okay, first of all, you guys back me up on this. You must admit on planet Earth that at the most 1% of the world population of human beings has blue eyes. I mean, you got to admit, and that's like the biggest minority. If you want to, put people in their box, and you put like Well, my daughter's got like a shade of eyes that no, like she's a bigger minority than blue. I guess green and colors like that are even less than 1%. Okay, so now the thing about Pleiadians is I think they generally have blue eyes, and that's the thing that with Sydney Sweeney that got her in so much trouble, where she said her genes are blue. Imagine that an American girl said her genes are blue. And she said it in a way to make it sound like blue is something special. But the thing about it, she's talking about her jeans, like her blue jeans, you know what I'm saying? And that's what, but it was, it's just a marketing pitch. It was pretty good. But she got in all that trouble for, like just highlighting the blue eye thing, you know, but what the trip is, and then you got the Nordics and you got the whole Antarctica thing and you got the whole Hitler thing, the thing about the blue eye thing. The whole blue eye trip is a trip because not saying that any aliens are superior to another, but you know, the Lyran are supposed to, well, look, the Seraphim are the most powerful. The Seraphim, yeah, the Seraphim. That's what I want to become. I want to become a Seraphim like myself. But I'm not going to go into what they, supposedly, you know, you march your way up the ladder, you know. Right now I'm just like a human being, right? But like my soul can become higher. Like realistically, I'm pretty sure that my soul, well, let's just pretend like my soul might have been a Pleiadian soul incarnated into a human body with blue eyes, you know. Just kind of like Chief Black Bear. And then we'll get back to Chief Black Bear where we're supposed to be. And we'll go ahead and get right back into that. Okay. So the reason all that evil cannot overpower Chief Black Bear and take over his planet Argartha is because the chief is half Pleiadian and half human. But the reason he has blue eyes is because he's half Pleiadian. So we'll say the same reason with me, okay? The reason I got blue eyes is because I'm half Pleiadian. It's better than being a reptilian, okay? Some of you guys are half reptilian. Like what they're saying is everybody, like all humans are like, you know, mixed between a freaking homo, like a caveman and an alien. And there's a bunch of different aliens. Okay. And some of them aliens that are on Three Eye Atlas are Lyran. That's what I was getting at. And there's Pleiadians, there's probably reptilians and Anunnaki, which all of them. They're all coming to get us. Oh, freaking! It's kind of like Star Wars. And by the way, I think Star Wars is true. The movie Star Wars with Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker is Enoch, and Enoch was the first Skywalker. He's known as the Skywalker. Enoch, the Book of Enoch. I'm listening to that stuff. So, anyways, you know, let's just pretend like Star Wars is true. And now there's a freaking whole planet full, not planet Argartha, Three Eye Atlas. We'll say Three Eye Atlas is a planet about the, maybe Chief Black Bear is going to go out there and square up with him. Now, the Chief has major weaponry and he's got all that evil on board. He might be going up there to freaking take on the Lyrans and the Pleiadians and the Anunnaki and all of them. Chief Black Bear, you got to take on all of them because they're coming here to mess with us. Now you got Chief Black Bear out there in planet Argartha. He's got the Bushes, the Clintons. He's got the freaking Obamas. Man, he's got Lee Harvey Oswald. He's got all of them, man. They're all there on his freaking planet Argartha. and they're heading out there to square up with the Lyran. Okay. Now, meanwhile, what the Lyran are doing is they're planting little kittens in people's lives, like David Nino Rodriguez. They planted a kitten in his life, and they do that to these other men that I know, and myself. But what me and like another dude did was not take the kitten. But Nino, he saved the kitten and took it and still has it. Okay, now the kitten that I didn't take, I thought about taking it, and I realized at the time what was going on, but I didn't take it because I was too stupid. Same thing with this other guy that I watch on YouTube. You know, same story. They plant a kitten that's about to get run over by a car, and we'll call a person like me a starseed in a starseed's life, just as a test to see how you deal with it. Follow that? So, like out of nowhere, you know, you'll be driving and you'll see a kitten, man, a car just run over the kitten and miss it with all four tires, and then you're up next. What are you going to do? You know, Nino, he jumps out and saves the kitten. Same thing with the other guy I watch. But Nino took the kitten home and still has the kitten, and it's changed Nino's life. Now the other dude, he put the kitten in the grass and left the kitten, and now he's all heartbroken because he connected with the kitten. He thinks he did a good thing. He saved the kitten's life, put it in the grass, left it behind. Now he's all heartbroken because he misses the kitten. Now, in my situation, I'm just at the gas station pumping gas in Montecito, and right there next to me in the bushes, in the grass and stuff, in the landscape, is a kitten. And he's all wanting me to pick him up and take him and everything, but I don't do it. I go on my bed. I mean, I got an old dog. I got Mercedes. She's like, well, she said she was 12 back then. She's 13 now. She might still be 12. I think she's going to turn 13 on probably around October 7th. I got her Thanksgiving and she was 6 weeks. The way things go in my life, I guarantee she was probably born October 7th. So she'll be 13 around then. She's 13 around now. About 6 months ago when they planted the kitten. Okay. So anyways, I didn't take the kitten. But the thing about, well, I got a horse, man. I do the same thing with a horse. And horses do it. But what cats are supposed to do, and I hear that cats choose you. You don't choose a cat. A cat chooses you. Okay. So you get the lions coming in. Okay. And what they're calling people like me is like an anchor point. You know, the Lyrans and the Pleiadians and all the Anunnaki and the reptilians, all of them, they need to be able to connect on a frequency to somebody that can pick up their signal, which is me, an anchor point. Like the spirits, we'll call aliens, spirits, and angels and demons and stuff like that. Okay. Now you can pick and choose, like if you think it's an angel or a demon or an alien or a spirit. But I'm going to make this a little bit bigger though, because I've come to the realization, okay, they're not spirits on the Three-Eye Atlas. Okay. Now this is my own theory that is not coming to me through electronic stuff. This is from my own reasoning on the spirit thing, on what is a spirit. Okay. Let's talk about the Holy Spirit for a moment as far as what is a spirit. Okay. So we'll say the Holy Spirit is a spirit, or that horse has spirit. But so try to analyze what a spirit is. It's different than a soul. So And then there's the Son of God, Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the Most High Spirit. Does anybody ever, the Trinitarian belief, God, Jesus the Son, wait, God the Father, Jesus the Son, and the Holy Spirit. It's the Trinity. Okay? All one and the same. This is their belief, not mine. I got my own belief. But, God the Father and Jesus the Son, or they say God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. They call it all one, the Trinitarian belief. Okay. John 1 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. And somebody knows John 1 1, but it says that something about the Word was John. The Word was with God, and God is the Son. Hold on. Let's just see what John 1 1 says. Hope it comes up. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The verse introduces. Okay, but it's not talking about the Son. All right, so later, so you talk about the Word being with God, but then I forget the verse, but it says that God made all things by the Son. Can it? Dang, I wish I knew how to use Google where you just talk to it. Let me see if I can figure that out. Let me see something real quick. Wait, I think I see it. Let's see something. I can't read is what the problem is. Where in the Bible does it say that God made all things by his Son? Saying Isaiah. I need it. All right. Sorry, I can't find the verses to back it up, so you just have to, maybe you guys know it. What I'm trying to say is God made all things with his Son, or by his Son. All things were made by his Son. Okay, so let's just kind of pretend that science says, and we're in the flat earther realm, okay? We're just sticking with what the Bible says. We're pretending we're on a flat earth with a dome. There's no outer space. This is a flat earth theory here. This is okay. So, anyways, and then we'll get into my theory that adds on to the flat earth theory here. Okay. So let's say in the Bible it says that God made all things with his Son, or something like that. It does say something like that. I don't know what verse to back it up. Okay. So if God made all things by his Son, science supposedly, humans, scientists supposedly say that all things were made by the Son, that big star up there, the Sun. All things like the Earth and all the other planets in the solar system were made by the Sun. That's what scientists say. God says, or the Bible says, that God made all things with his Son. Scientists say everything was made with the Son, but they spell it S-O-N and S-U-N, and it's English. And the Bible wasn't even written in English, but whatever. So go along with this. Okay. So let's just say, for argument's sake, that both scientists and the Bible are right, and that all of our reality was made by the Son, which is God's Son, which, and to take it even further, let's just pretend this is my theory. There's a hypothesis. How do you say it? Hypothesis? Hypothesis? It's less than a theory. Somebody tell hypothesis. Hypothesis. I don't know. I'm a high school dropout. Okay. But anyways, my hypothesis that I don't even know how to say is that the Son is the Son from which all things were made. Okay. So, and by the way, living and conscious, the ultimate consciousness, I'm saying in my hypothesis theory that the Son, the S-O-N or S-U-N, however you want to spell it, is the consciousness that we all have. And we get our consciousness from the Son's consciousness, the S-O-N consciousness. And that is what I'm calling the Christ consciousness that is coming available now. And earlier in the show, I discussed how I've been making these quantum leaps because you've heard of the solar flares and the ascension and all that. What's happening is the Sun is changing his or her or its vibration to a higher frequency level. And as anchor points, like antennas, like our DNA goes up and out of us. And we can grab the light, which is information. It's light. It's a frequency. We can grab it and it comes down into us through our DNA, and we just know it automatically. We don't have to be taught. It's kind of like earlier in the show, I could discuss how Erica Kirk looks exactly like Sarah Trump, who doesn't even exist. But I can just see all that, like bam, just in a flash. Like you guys may have watched many years ago, like 2021 or 2020, on the Lowdown 2020, I shared a video of Trump and Melania getting off the plane off Air Force One in Egypt, and they're meeting some big deal guy. And the big deal guy was Muhammad Al-Fayed back then. And then they go walking along, and they meet up with a woman who looks exactly like Princess Diana, but she's like in her 50s. And you just knew. I just knew it was her at first glance. And I recorded the show, and I had it on my show, on my channel. It got deleted for a long time. And a lot of you guys saw it. And I knew that was her. I knew that was Diana. And I later found out it was Muhammad Al-Fayed. So what is Diana and Trump and Melania doing with Dodi Al-Fayed's father? And this is how I started writing the book. Now, Chief Black Bear did ID swapping with Dodi Al-Fayed. Because, see, obviously Muhammad Al-Fayed was in on it. And in the book, it's Trump that hires Chief Black Bear to switch IDs with Dodi Al-Fayed and to rescue Princess Diana way back then. See, Trump and Chief Black Bear, they go back a long ways. Actually, all the way back to Nikola Tesla. And have you guys ever heard the story? If anybody's in the chat room still, has anybody ever heard a story about Trump time traveling? There were the time travelers of Barron Trump. The book. They wrote a book, like, what's his name? Ingersoll Lockwood, right? The time travels of Baron Trump. It's true, man. Which is why I'm getting at, could Baron Trump be the Antichrist? People want to say it's William, but Baron's the one in line. We'll see. I'll go ahead and wrap up the show. It's been going on for, well, you know what? I'm going to run it on for another minute because it's come. I always used to like to wrap the shows up at 107 because that's a real significant number in my life that just pops up all the time. So I'll find the clock's at 106.07.